Hello, hello, greetings, good evening, sisters and brothers. This is another Melanin Report 360 coming at you live. So thanks for tuning in. So we're going to talk tonight about Christmas and are we still celebrating and so forth. So that's going to be my topic tonight. And because I'm going to discuss the current events, I'm going to just, wait. I want you to follow, subscribe, and share. Follow, subscribe, share. The Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360. And also, my books are available on Amazon. Uh, the Melanin Diet and also the Living the Melanin Diet. So I want to put those plugs in before I forget. But yeah, I want to go ahead and read the fair use disclaimer because I think I'm going to tap into some current events. There were quite a few. The last 24 hours. So I just want to dot my I's, cross my T's. So fair use, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching and scholarship, education and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute, which might otherwise be infringing. So got that out the way. All right. So let's talk. Let's kind of discuss now that we're 7 days almost to the new year. I just want to find out if people are seriously still celebrating Christmas. I'm not really sure, other than gathering and, perhaps breaking bread. I don't understand the gift giving of it all. Because we meaning melanated people, we have limited in other words, we do not purchase from each other. Back in the 20s and, after Reconstruction, it seemed like we did not have an opportunity to shop with others. So we had to create, and our businesses would thrive because we were spending money with each other. I mean, if you didn't have it and you need to go to a store, or back in the 70s, 80s, you put the word out, family members, I'm looking for blah, 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 blah. You would buy from that vendor. If he or she didn't have a license, it would just be a word of mouth thing. Because I know my mother took advantage of a lot of that stuff back in the 70s and 80s. And we kept circulating money within our community. So we obviously didn't have fill in the blank, Target, Amazon, all of these, quick. You can couple of clicks on your phone, you have an item, within 72 hours typically. So we didn't have all of these, as we would think, conveniences. But at what cost are we, we're having the convenience, but at what cost? Our economic should be top of mind because Asians tend to shop with Asians, Japanese. I mean, I'm talking about this country, obviously. but there is a system that's in place. Even larger or mid-sized businesses, they're not shopping. If it's definitely you gotta have, they may go out on a limb and get it from a third party. They try to recirculate their funds in their community. You know? So I'm not understanding, especially right now with the pandemic. I'm like, huh? This is top of mind. I had to go get some food, and I went by the plaza, which had Wally World and what else is in there? It's PetSmart and all, Lowe's and all that. But it seems like there was a mad rush. The parking lot was full, especially Walmart. The parking lot was full last minute, and last minute shoppers. That was like today. So what I'm thinking is, why are we still doing that? Not only the pandemic, so take that off the table. Excuse me. Why are we still fundamentally spending money outside of our community? I'm not understanding that. Handmade, Kwanzaa is, more like, thoughts and energy, meditation and all that. And some gift giving, but it's typically things that people would make by hand, you know. So I just don't know why we're spending so much money. We are creating wealth for others instead of creating wealth for generations to come. And this is alarming rates because we're shopping, spending money perhaps we do not have, meaning we're purchasing on credit. And I'm just not I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. Not even with the pandemic going on, just take that off the table. I just have I'm just at a loss for words of thinking about, melanated people spending money outside of their community. So perhaps we can start recreating or creating our, things that we can be in celebration of. So we can recreate or create traditions. So are we doing anything in the midst of the pandemic, and slash new creations of traditions? I'm not sure. We're pretty much on the bandwagon of the European Christian holidays. Winter solstice is one thing, but Christmas, I'm not understanding some of us have limited resources. We can charge, but we elect not to. But I just don't understand the end game. The end game. And so I really want to have a conversation now with new traditions, you know, outside of the Kwanzaa. Are we establishing new traditions in our home? Versus, going out like clockwork, because they know we spend money with others, because we didn't have that ability back in the day, way back in the day. So we had to spend money with each other. I know there was a video, I didn't grab it, back in 60s, 70s, I think it was put together. It was like showing our people And this is the new quote unquote middle class, and we have disposable income. If someone can put in the chat or bring that to my attention. But there was a video, it was a black and white. No. It was like right at the beginning of color. I'm going to say late 60s. You could tell the color wasn't as brilliant, but it was color. I think it was back in the late 60s. Yeah, somewhere around there. And actually talking about our people, and that we have income, we're the new middle class, and so pretty much you should take money from everywhere, including Black folks, melanated folks. So can we shift it for 2021? Can we come out of the stores? Can we just buy what we quote unquote need for 2021 instead of making other people rich and wealthy? It's just ridiculous. I'm not understanding, why we stay consistent, but I like to start some new traditions, that would be more beneficial, keeping our money, unless you are purchasing from, like I said, back in the day, my mother quote unquote had a hookup, and there was some people that people would come to the job selling stuff. I mean, that's back in Brooklyn, but I don't know if that was everyone's experience. But my mother would come back, payday Friday. She might have a new purse, that someone came through, and it was a brother or a sister, and those were the fun years in Brooklyn. But mom would come back with a purse for me, or whatever, some shoes. I mean, a lot of people were hustling back then. I think we got to get back to that. We have to get back to that. Even though we have, disposable income, we generate money, blah blah blah. Can't we keep it? Can't we take a moratorium on no shopping unless it's an essential item? Not a 75,000-inch TV. I have the same TV for 6, 7 years. It fits in my wall unit and it's perfect. I'm not buying a TV every 2 years or 3 years because this one's quote unquote outdated. Still have streaming, blah blah blah. And I'm not understanding why we are electing. No one's not going to gun to our head, but we are taking our money, our resources, and spending money with other people. This makes no sense. This makes no sense. I mean, obviously we have grocery stores, a few bodegas in Brooklyn who were mostly Hispanic or a couple of Black owned, but bodegas were readily, pretty much every 4 or 5 blocks there was a little corner store. You can get everything from Newports to bologna. I'm really dating myself. So back in the day, these were our options, especially if you didn't have a car. But we had vehicles. But if you needed something real quick, down the store was right at Dumont, I believe, Dumont. So that was 1 block away. So yeah, I'm just at a loss with us still quote unquote keeping up with the Joneses, or are we keeping up with society? We have to purchase something. We have to have something under the tree. We have to. I mean, it's just robotic. It's just, I'm trying to wrap my mind around the purpose. The purpose is unreal. I think we place the energy and the expectation on ourselves and our children and grandchildren. And so I don't understand why these are traditions that can be broken. We have to have a tree every year. I mean, I don't even think it's biblical. I don't think there's anything, in the Bible. I'm not a biblical scholar, but December 25th, first tree was, in Jerusalem, or, there was no passage that I'm aware of that speaks to that, time of the year, et cetera, et cetera. And that's always up for debate. So just one moment, please. Um, so yeah, I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding. And the fact that there's been so many a black man, I don't have my cell phone close by. I don't remember the city. Probably it doesn't matter in that way. It's another unarmed black man. Somebody called the police, and whenever you call the police, back to not Trayvon, back to Tamir Rice, who called the police? Instead of she or he knew that that child was young. Whenever you call the police and there's a person of color, especially a black man, black woman involved, can't you just be not so cowardly and just assess the situation? Because you see the reports, that's not, it's another dead man, another dead woman. What I'm saying is we have to take the onus of saying, let me investigate. I'm a neighbor, I have neighbors on both sides, and my neighbor that I left, I went out and my vehicle, so my neighbor kind of let me know what was going on with her, and she'd be out of town and all like that. So that's the neighborly deal, and I'm equally neighborly, and that's what we do. You don't call, I'm gonna start, I don't want to curse. You don't call the police when you know there is a black melanated person. There's a 50-50 chance that person is going to be taken out in a body bag. This is the real facts. This is facts. I'm not inflating. It's a 50-50 chance. I'm just I don't understand if it's a neighbor and there was some unusual behavior. First of all, mind your own damn business first. That's first, unless it's like overt and like in your face, and you don't know, you're hearing shots fired and all like that. Once you call the police, why are we calling the police on minor stuff? This could have been a man who had his car running. I just got some of the details. The car was running. It's 2:00, 1:00 in the morning. I think it was in Ohio. It's coming up for me. Ohio. It's 1:30 in the morning. So the guy is in Ohio. I mean, my father would start the car up like 20 minutes, 15 minutes because it get good and warm, We had a 1968 Buick, LeSabre, blue and a black top. So my father would oftentimes go, especially if we went on a long trip, he would go out, warm up the car. That wasn't unusual. and come back in the house. We had a gate. We had a yard. We had a gate, so it was pretty much safe. But that was an that's something that usually people do, especially if it's a motor vehicle. But like, the vehicle I have, I push a button and it's ready. So see the sign ready, I can go ahead and go. But I'm not understanding if it's a neighbor. This wasn't a random person, flying through the neighborhood, shooting out of the car. I mean, we're just so we are learning to live and expect this. And I think this is the same reason why we should not spend money in this country, because we are A, not respected, B, not respected, C, not respected. So why should we invest in this country? If you have some offshore dealings, I can respect that. Spending money year after year, decade after decade, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. And what happened, I heard this young man, well, I don't know the age, I want to say 30s, starting up the car and having it run in Ohio in December. I don't understand why that was unusual. But it's a melanated man, so everything is suspect. Our every move can be suspicious, because we are at war. I remember when CDs first came out. I think I got a Sister Soldier CD, and it was like 90, 92 or 3. It was somewhere in that, over 20 years ago, over 25 years ago. She said her opening sentence, "We're at war. We are at war. We're at war." That's what we are. We are at war. They want us to come from out of ourselves, our natural state of peace, harmony, oneness with spirit, oneness with the ancestors. They just want us to come out of our knowing. They want a race war. That's all I can't even think of anything else. This is maybe what the end game is. Excuse me. But we can't take the bait. We can't take the bait. But I remember the Sister CD, Sister Soldier, had a cover. Her face was on the cover. And I was thinking, isn't that extreme? We're at war. That was her opening. It was opening. We're at war. And I probably have this CD. I have a CD player, so I may find it tonight. But yeah, I'm not understanding the spending. We're not respected in this country. We're definitely not loved. We're not loved. We're not respected. Money is taken willingly. We just go and, whenever we need something. I'm not trying to say don't buy anything ever. You have food, you have this, you have that. But what I'm saying is, I go to the thrift store. I don't buy everything from the thrift store, okay? But I try to minimize, I don't buy undergarments and things like that, bras and all like that. But I tend to go to the thrift store. That was something, especially once I moved out here, because I was doing it back in Atlanta. But we have tons and tons of thrift stores. I mean, thrift stores are probably within, I've got 2.5 miles one way, maybe 7, 8 miles the other way. So we have thrift stores in our communities. That's not a day trip. No, 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 no. But we have to start being mindful of our expenditures. We have to be mindful. We're in another decade. So what were we doing from, say, 20-year period? So from 2000 now 2020. How many Christmases have you celebrated? And I'm not trying to say, gather around the fireplace and tell stories and have a meal and blah. That's cool. You know, if we're spending our money, we have to be selective of who is deserving of our money, because we generate a lot of money in this country and it goes right back out. It goes right back out. So keep that in mind. I want to go over one tradition that, I have implemented. My father passed 6 years ago, 2014, and July 8th to be exact. And I was a daddy's girl, and I, in honoring and in his remembrance, I erected an altar in my home. And I have an altar for both sides who are deceased members of my family that were dear to me. And this is a tradition because we know our ancestors are right a whisper away. I mean, you know, whomever or whatever you pray to, our ancestors are in our DNA. My father's DNA is still circulating in my body. So for me to just, go to the funeral and blah, blah, and, and that's it. No, 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 no. He has in my third bedroom, there is a section or a place and a table and flowers and this and that. And there's always a light, a candle lit. These are our traditions because we are connected to the ancestors. Our ancestors, this is our DNA. People will say, "Oh, it's this," throwing some salt on it. But I'm like, no, this is our ancestral line. This is my ancestral line. And I have members of my mother's side that have passed on, and also my father and his uncles and so forth. But what I'm saying to you is, are you melanated? If you are, you should have an altar. I'm going to say should, because we can tap into the energy of our ancestors because they're just a whisper away. They're waiting for us. They're waiting for, recognition from this side to honor and respect and cherish their memories. But what other way than to have an altar, a candle lit? It could be very, very, small, but anyway, anything is big for them. Because we have to recognize our strength, our DNA strength, and the connection to the ancestors on the other side. That's where our power, it's this is like a no-brainer. So I would say some new traditions. The first one would be an ancestral altar. An ancestral altar. Excuse me, I'm drinking a lot more water tonight. I really think this is what we should do, because we have to have more armor. When we go in a room, your ancestors are with you. When you go to court, your ancestors are with you. So, pour libation, say a prayer to your ancestors, whatever you want to achieve, that's your prayer before you leave the house. I go to my altar before I leave every day, every day, every day, every day. And my father had certain things that he liked. And, I have, like, he liked peanuts. He liked dried peanuts, and he would, peanuts in the shell, peanuts in the shell. So he would sprinkle salt in his hand, put the peanuts in it, and then it was just so funny to watch. But, these are some things that he did. So I recognize that. And I always have, he liked, I have watermelon. No, he liked cantaloupe a little bit more. But, the melons, he definitely, so that's a summer fruit. So, when I'm doing the offering, and I, offer that to him. And, memories of what he did on this side. So are we doing this? Are we doing that? Or do we disconnect because we're Christian? And because we're Christian and that goes against whatever you believe, we're not able to uplift. We're not able to pay respect to our ancestors. That's how you're here. My father and my mother's DNA is in my body, to this moment. And so why would I not honor him in spirit and truth? So to not honor him is a disservice, and I'm saying, I'm a daddy's girl and I don't even have an altar. How could that be? So I really want us, if we are Christian, or Buddhist or whatever, and that is counter, that erecting an altar is counter of your practice, I would question some of your practices. I'm just keeping it real, keeping it 100. Because if I cannot honor my ancestors, I'm going to question that practice. Because a lot of traditions, they honor the ancestors. Somehow, some way, they are honored. And so I bring this up because of everything that has gone on this year. The Breonna Taylor, Abram, guy in Georgia, Brunswick, Arbery, I'm thinking Arbery, George Floyd. I mean, the list is going on. It's just endless. Because the one today, that happened, I believe, today. So that was more in real time. It's just endless. We are constantly in mourning. And one person, now, I don't know that family. I don't know what part of Ohio. I believe it's Ohio. But it still is connected. Our heart still weeps. We have a connection by melanin. So to say, oh, well, that wasn't my family, that's the disconnect they expect. We should feel a certain kind of way when we hear these stories. The woman that in Chicago, it was 2 years ago, and the mayor slash police person, I don't want to misspeak, but somebody suppressed that tape coming out. It eventually came out. It just came out, but I thought it was in real time, like maybe 2 or 3 days ago. It was like 2 years ago. So they know fundamentally that we are totally disrespecting. I'm talking about the Black woman that was nude and they barged into the house, 12 police officers, all male. Might have been one female. So we are totally not respected. You know, that could have been your mother, that could have been your grandmother, etc. So that is first and foremost. We're not respected. We're killed because somebody left the car running. I mean, this is some just BS, you know. So now we continue to spend money in this country, our money that we quote unquote earn, and I'm not understanding it. I'm totally not understanding it. So I want us to start some new traditions for 2021. If you need to contact me on how to, get try to put it together, your altar, think about it. Think about it. You can draw on from that energy on your altar. And when I say draw on it, respectfully, I'm saying that would be a beautiful way to remember your dear beloved ancestors. And because I know it to be true, I know it to be true, I know it to be true, I'm protected in ways. Not arrogantly, but I know that my ancestors are with me. I pray to their spirit. I pour libation. I have pictures, and so the takeaways from this talk is really changing 2021 to start new traditions in 2021, because we have to do something radically different. We have to gather and speak to what is going on, good, bad, or indifferent. A lot in this country is horrible. If someone came down from a spaceship and they were looking at, like, what's going on here? Are you serious? Are these people just being killed? I mean, in the streets, literally in the streets. So once we make these decisions of how to, how not to, we can keep our resources to ourselves and spend amongst each other. For example, I needed some shea butter and neem toothpaste and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. So about 2, 3 months ago, I contacted this brother in Durham, North Carolina, who I used to shop in his store. And when I first got out here, I kept shopping with him because I was still getting acclimated to my new city and I wasn't sure where to go, blah, blah, blah. I was still going back to him. This is an African brother, and I'll put a plug in the African land. I think it's African land. And so the brother is really, really good brother. And, you know, I this was like I said, 2 or 3 months ago. And so when I thought about what I needed, I said, I'm going to contact The brother in Durham. You know, I'm not gonna go to Amazon. I'm not gonna go to Target around the corner or whatever. I'm going to make a purpose of spending my money to that brother. It may take 3 or 5 days to get to me, but I know it's going to be good products. Blah 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 blah. You know, I got some oils. I got some neem toothpaste, and he had really good products. So I knew that, and I was like, why am I going to go to Amazon? And I don't know, he's still open, and he's like chugging along, thank goodness. And so that was immediately I thought about, him. CS Fabrics, if you in Durham or Raleigh, this was a nice go-to when I lived there. And it was a good experience. He had African art. He had a lot of stuff in that store. I think still in the same West Road or something, maybe on the other side of Durham. But anyway, African land, African land. But this is what we need to do. I'm not saying that because I have shopped on Amazon. I'm not faking it. But when I thought about his products, my immediate thought was, let me, reach out to the brother, see what's going up, what the deal is. So I just want us to regroup for 2021. We've had a hell of a year. With the COVID-19, I'm still, I'm not convinced of the numbers. I'm not convinced of deaths. And we don't know if people are getting these shots. I don't know. But just the other story I just wanted to mention, a little bit more before we close out. The sister, the melanated sister who was a physician in Indiana, she passed on from COVID. And she was, I think it was on TMZ or one of those, I think it was TMZ. I mean, she's in real time. She just passed maybe 5 days ago, a week ago. I'm not sure on the actual date. But she said they were treating her horribly. Now she's a physician. No, I'm not going to do that. She's a physician. And so, but the first thing they saw, a melanated person, Didn't matter her credentials. That's what I'm saying. We are Black first. We are melanated first. We are melanated. The world sees us in one layer. First is, I don't care how many degrees, 15,000 degrees, but we remain unapologetically melanated. And with that, they treated her, in her own words. I'm not going to say the N word, but they treated her like that. So again, why are we spending money? Why are we spending money with these crazy ass people? I'm going to say it. These systems that don't serve us. You have to spend and get groceries. I get it. Teach your children to maybe go to the thrift store with you. I got a purse right now. I should have had it right here so I could show it to you. But I got a purse for like genuine leather or genuine leather made in Italy. And it's like $10. So This is what I'm saying. The art of thrifting. I mean, we can really, really appreciate that. I can appreciate that. I've always been a thrifter because I like to stretch my money. Now, if I don't see, it has to be good quality, you know. I don't want to just say, oh, I have something to say I spent something, you know, at the thrift store, but I try to minimize my expenditures so that way I'm not giving money to the same company and their businesses are thriving and ours are literally dying. So I really want us to reconsider our traditions and start creating some new traditions, keeping in mind that you probably will get some pushback with your family, perhaps, but there's an opportunity for you to be the trailblazer. You can set the tone for the year and take the pressure off because you don't have a gift, you know. I mean, this is so ridiculous, you know, totally ridiculous. And I just want um, us to recreate new agendas on our money, new traditions for our money and for our children and our grandchildren. We don't have to celebrate these holidays. We do not have to celebrate the traditional way, giving gifts, and you're going to be going, the store's going to be crowded on Saturday. It's going to be taking stuff back. And, you know, I'm like, why bother? Why bother? So if our money comes out of the GNP, gross national product. Anyway, if it comes out, it would definitely be a sinking situation. Our numbers, we pull out our resources on the total sales, it would definitely be a significant loss. And why not hit them when it hurts or where it hurts? And that's the almighty dollar. So with that said, have a wonderful, peaceful evening. I'll be back on Sunday. Consider our discussion tonight of building and making new traditions, establishing new traditions, and some of us are doing it. I'm not suggesting that everyone is not doing, you know, I'm the only one that has an altar. I'm not suggesting that. But what I'm saying to you is set your own traditions in your own family. This is, you know, key. You know, moving on into 2021, what are the new traditions we will set, we will make that can be passed on? You know, perhaps put the altar together this weekend. You know, start finding some pictures. Now, if you have, I have a few pictures that my great aunt in Brooklyn is still alive, but I put a tape. There's a group of pictures. There's several of her brothers and her sisters in the picture, but she is still living. So I put a tape on her picture, on her face, and the others that have passed on. So, you know, if you need to contact me to get some of these other jewels of how to set the altar, 602-775-9665. Welcome to call me. I'm not going to say day or night, but I'd be happy to answer any questions, or you can run some things past me, and I will do my very, very best and to impart that information to you. So have a peaceful, wonderful, beautiful night. We will be back on Sunday. Stay safe, be well, and talk about these traditions. If you have gatherings tomorrow, just say, you know what, I talked to Sister Deanne from the Melanin Report 360. She dropped some jewels, and can we consider this into 2021? Let's start some new traditions. Let's pull our money out of this society, as it were, and to spend Black dollars with Black people, melanated dollars to melanated people. So we can elevate our kingdom, elevate our kingdom, elevate our kingdom. So peace and blessings. Have a beautiful, special, spectacular evening as well. And we'll talk again soon. I'll see you Sunday. Peace.